Hello YouTube, welcome to the channel. Now then, on today's video we are going to be looking at this. It's the MJX Hyper Go. It's a 16208 truggy, 1/16 scale, sort of basher buggy if you like. This is the brushless version. If you remember, a friend of mine lent me his brushed version to do a review of. Well, he's gone ahead and bought the brushless version, so we get to have a look at the brushless version today basically. Now these things are on and off sale on Banggood at any one particular time. I think this cost him 96 quid, which is roughly $119. It does come with 2 batteries, so he got a 2 battery deal. So it was on a reasonable offer, this thing was. I will leave some links in the description to where you can get it on Banggood as ever. Let's have a quick look at the box. It's 1/16 scale. It's 2S, comes with a 2S LiPo 4x4. It's brushless. Anyways, enough waffle. I'm interested to see what this thing is like, so let's get it out of the box and have a look. Right then, in the box we get our instructions and a comprehensive parts manual. We get our wheelie bar for the truck. We get a spare battery, and incidentally, if you've never seen MJX Hyper Go batteries before, they're actually like proper little battery cases and actually clip in to the chassis. I mean, the capacity of this thing is 2S. It's a LiPo 1050 milliamps. We've got a charger, a screwdriver, a metal wheel wrench stroke spanner, and we've got our transmitter, wherever I've put that. It's here. Now these brushless transmitters do differ from the brushed version, but they have similar sort of features. We've got basically a power control, which is 70%, 100%. I'm presuming that's a power control actually. It might be for the lights for all I know. We've got steering trim and throttle trim and all the usual controls. We've got a button on the actual control itself. I'm not sure what that does yet, but I'm not going to press it because last time the car shot off the end of the desk. And last but not least, we have the actual truck itself. Now, these MJXs are really nice quality. I mean, and this is no exception. This thing looks absolutely epic in the blue and red paint scheme. First thing you notice about it is there are no body clips. And I think this is because this thing may be magnetic, I'm not sure. You can also tuck the body shell into the sides well with these side protectors. But as ever, first impressions of this thing, it does look a superb piece of kit. It's got the version 2 links as well, which are adjustable. Everything's metal on this, the transmission, metal drive cups, metal drive shafts, front and rear, oil shocks. I mean, the tyres feel nice and compliant and superb. It's just an all-round quality piece of kit, these things are. Let's see if we can get the... How do we get the body off now? Or maybe some time.
Many hours later.
Right, I think I've sussed it. On the back we've got a clip. You slide that to the one side, lift it up. That allows the back of the body to lift up, and then you just slide it out, and there we go. It sits on 2 brackets. No more scratching around for our clips in the dirt. There we go. That's brilliant. Right then, we've got the guts of this thing. I'm going to bring you a bit closer, and we're going to see what's underneath. Right then, there are some major differences to the brushless version as opposed to the brushed, and I'm not just talking about the electronics or the motor. On the brushless version, there's no GPS anymore, which, to be honest, I thought that was a bit of a faddy thing. I'm not sure why you'd want GPS on a little truck, but hey ho, there you go. Anyway, on this version, we've got what looks like a 2845 brushless motor, and it's nice to see that they've included a fan there, which is always nice on one of these. We've got obviously our little brushless ESC there. I'm not sure what ampage it should be, doesn't say it on there at all anywhere. Now obviously we've got a separate receiver which is sat on top of the cross member, and of course we've got another battery which is brilliantly clips into the chassis. So I mean, no more batteries flying out and dragging on the floor anymore. And these I mean, they're not very particularly high capacity, but they do seem to have a bit of oomph behind them, these little 2S batteries. And like I say, you can clip them in and out of the chassis, which is just brilliant really. It's got obviously a Dean's connector, so if you wanted to put a larger capacity battery in with a similar connector in, you could. apart from that, this thing looks very similar, obviously, to the brushed version. And we've got a set of oil shocks. I mean, these are lovely and plush things, and the tyres, like I say, feel nice and soft and compliant, and looks like they got foams in as well. That light bar on the front, incidentally, is really bright, and at the last time you could control it via the transmitter, but we'll have a look in that in a minute. But anyway, let's get and have a look at the guts of this thing. I'm pretty sure that it'll be very similar to the brushed, all metal. But let's start taking this thing apart and see what we've got. Right, then let's start with the wheels and tyres. Now, there's not much difference between these and the brushed version, apart from they come with a little red washer inside. I don't think it does anything. I think it just denotes the fact that you've got a brushless car. I mean, they come with plastic wheel hexes and metal nuts. It would be nice to see some metal wheel hexes, I must admit, at this price point, but it's a minor thing. Now, I have had a look at the controller. We've got a battery in at the moment, and like I say, the lights on these things are dead bright, but that is the button to control the lights. Like I say, the lights are exceptionally bright. It's like having a head torch. Now, the on-off button is there, and you can flick it between 70 and 100%. So that's why I thought it was like I say, a speed control switch, but it's not. It's the on-off switch, and literally you can have 100% or 70%. So that's a nice little feature. Let's continue on stripping this thing down. We're going to start with the suspension and basically work our way back. Oh, one more interesting thing I forgot to mention about the controller, and it's the attention to detail on these MJXs that I like. Is the fact that there's a screw that holds the battery door in. These take 2 AA batteries, which you have to supply, by the way. But the actual door itself is on a hinge, so you can't actually lose the door for the for the transmitter. It's actually attached to the transmitter. So again, once again, attention to detail on these MJXs is fantastic. Right, then moving on to the suspension, and these little shock units feel nice and plush, and they're really well made. Incidentally, they're the same type as you'd find on HBX 16889, etc. I'm a big fan of these actually, because considering they're only like the ones that come with the truck, they always feel nice and plush, and to be honest, they don't often leak either. So they're a good quality set of shocks, these, and they're adjustable for preload as well. We've got our front and rear bumpers here, and we've got that nice squishy plastic that bounces off everything, which is good. And of course, we've got our light unit in the front one there, which is just like a head torch. Now, these are held on by these little metal brackets which have a pin through the centre. Again, it's just attention to detail. There's extra little fasteners here and there just to keep things secure and in place. We're going to move on now. We're going to have a look at the transmission and the drive shafts. So I'm going to go ahead and take those off. Right then, as for the rest of the suspension and the drive shafts, we'll start with the drive shafts actually, because one thing you do notice straight away is how over-engineered these drive shafts are. I mean, the thickness of the shaft is probably more akin to something you get off a 1/10, 1/12 scale truck, let alone something in 1/16. I mean, I'll be interested to see if these things ever wear out there. I mean, they're massively over-engineered for such a little car. I mean, the plastic, and the setup is very traditional. I mean, there is some moulding flash on some parts, but it's nothing too much to worry about. And it's very reminiscent of a HBX 16889, the way that everything fits together. But that's not a bad thing, because they are superb. And it's also in that sort of nice, robust kind of plastic. Normally you can hit quite a few trees before you break any of this stuff, so which is nice. Everything is on little bearings, obviously, which is good, not bushes, which are bad. This is the version 2 with the adjustable steering arms, so you can adjust for sort of toe in, etc. We'll move on now and have a look at the remainder of the transmission, but I'm going to stick my neck out, and I'm going to say it's going to be very similar to the brushed version. Taking all the covers off and then taking the electronics out so you can see the transmission, but it is all metal. We've got metal reduction gear there and little metal bevel gears. The diffs on these things are all metal inside, and once again, the drive cups on these things are huge compared with the size of the truck, so that everything on this truck is literally over-engineered. And I will say this as well, This thing is silky smooth. I mean, it really is. When you turn the centre shaft there's virtually no resistance, and everything turns without any horrible notchiness whatsoever. So the quality on these little Hyper Goes is absolutely fantastic, I think. I'm not going to strip the diffs on this thing because I know full well that they're all metal inside. I will say this as well, there's plenty of lubrication on this, plenty of grease. I can see plenty of grease inside as well. So big thumbs up. It's attention to detail again with MJX. A lot of RCs that you open up, a lot of small RCs, you don't get any lubrication, but I will say this, they've put plenty in this one anyway, at least. Steering wise, let's have a look at the electronics. We've got a little micro steering servo here, and to be honest, for a stock servo, it's quite quick, these are. And we've also got our ESC and brushless motor here. Again, nice touch with the fan. This motor is, it says Angry Snail on the bottom. It's 2845, 4200 kV, so there's going to be some walloping that I tell you, this thing is going to shift. And coupled that with our little ESC unit. I mean, everything's just so neatly laid out on these MJXs, and like I say, it's the attention to detail. The fan, even down to the connectors, are nice and neat as well. So just from that standpoint, I can't fault them whatsoever. Incidentally, one of the major differences between the clip-on body and the ordinary body is obviously the shock towers. We've got the mounts for the body integral to them, so these are different from the normal shell. Right then, now that this thing is in its constituent parts, all I've got to do now is try and figure out how to put it back together. Even from this little teardown, what do I think of the brushless Hyper Go here? And to be honest, it's the same as the brushed. Lots of attention to detail. I really like the attention to detail on these MJXs. The quality seems there as well, and for the price you paid, 100 quid with 2 batteries, you get an awful lot of RC for your money. Even though it's just a 1/16 scale, you know, you really do get a quality piece of kit just looking at the teardown here. Anyway, if you found this video of some use and interest, please give it a big thumbs up. I know it's not always possible to do a running video as well with some of these donated RCs, but the teardowns, I think hopefully they will be of some use to somebody. So if it is, give it a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more similar future content. Once again, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you again very, very soon. Thank you.